3 different pole winners, 3 different race winners in the opening stages of the 1997 Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series. Tennessee's Crossville Speedway awaits race number 4 as Ford Heavy Trucks brings you all the action on Fox Sports Net. Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series Television is brought to you by Ford Heavy Trucks, maker of the all-new Aeromax and Louisville Truck Series. Together, we can run the country. And by the Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series, America's biggest dirt track late model series. As the beautiful hills of Tennessee get ready for spring, the signs of speed have come to Crossville Speedway in Crossville, Tennessee, as the Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series gets underway with race number 4 for the 1997 season. Hello, race fans. This is Trace Ali along with Kevin Billingsley, and we're returning to Crossville Speedway. It was in 1995 we first came here, but it's a little bit different racetrack, Kevin.
In the off-season, Carson Branham purchased this track, and they've done a lot of work to it. It used to be just a one-groove track. Now they're going 2 and 3 wide. The drivers love it, and we know the fans are going to love it.
1/3 mile around. 12.5 to 13-second laps by the big guns last night as they absolutely roared and made thunder here on the plateau in Crossville, Tennessee. Of course, in the middle of all that, the defending champion, of course, Freddie Smith, had to get his act together a little. He's not starting quite where we want him, but we need to talk about this man. The 1996 champion torchbearer is back.
He is the torchbearer. A little gray in the hair. All the young drivers hope to learn something from this guy. More than 750 career wins, an amazing stat, and he is truly the Southern gentleman.
Freddie Smith grabbed his first national championship as a teenager in go-kart racing, but his 1996 championship in the Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series put the crown on an incredible racing record. With over 750 wins in dirt track racing, Smith is one of the pioneers, perhaps its biggest achiever yet, and the current standard to beat for all who compete in this national series. You've raced all over the country, different racetracks, but now you've stepped into the Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series. You're its new champion, and you're the defending champion this year. Has Freddie Smith kind of redesigned in his mind how he's going to approach, say, the oncoming years in his racing career?
Well, no, not really. You know, Hav-A-Tampa's got the best circuit out, you know, and they got good money they're paying, and, you know, the people has got a good ruling, you know. We got good rules now, and the car's in good shape, so, you know, I'm looking forward to running another year with them.
Well, that's what I'm saying, basically, is you've decided rather than be sort of the lone wolf approach to it where you just run race to race, you're now concentrating on a points battle pretty seriously again.
Well, yeah, we're concentrating on the points, but, you know, we got to get a little bit better on our qualifying stuff. We hadn't been qualifying real well, but been racing good, so we're looking for a good win here, you know, and hope to pull one out tonight.
Talk as openly as you can, Freddie, about why you can start 16th so many times and end up near the front. What is going on? Why is qualifying so different for you than how you get into the race situation?
Well, you know, qualifying, the guys go all out for qualifying. They change the cars a little bit. You know, we don't really change ours that much, and we kind of try to get it set up for the race. And, you know, where we start, you know, we had to start back there sometimes, and, you know, we do very well coming up through the pack, because our car is set up for it, and most of the guys just leave their cars set up for a qualifying deal.
With a 2nd, 4th, and 3rd place finish in the first 3 races, Freddie Smith is on top of the Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series national point standings, right on schedule, and in the lead for another championship. But it's going to be a long season with many challenges, including more nationally ranked drivers than last year to compete against. But this king of the mountain still has racing in the blood and the will to win.
Freddie Smith, indeed, the Southern gentleman of the Hav-A-Tampa Series. He starts 8th tonight. But look for him to move up through the pack very quickly, hopefully get on that point real fast. And Tracy's a guy, you know, there are a lot of egomaniacs in this business, but not with Freddie Smith.
No, not at all. But he does like to drive, and he does like to go fast. In fact, in 1995, 7 cylinders is all it took him to win the race here at Crossville. Perhaps tonight he can do it with all 8 of them firing away. When we come back with the Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series coverage, we'll continue with a look at some of the drivers in the top 5s and points as Ford Heavy Trucks brings you the Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series from Crossville Speedway. Welcome back to Crossville Speedway in Tennessee, where the Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series is underway for its 4th race of the season. And Kevin Billingsley, we've had a very exciting season so far. The big guns have lined right up. In fact, a lot of surprises. Talk about the poles and the winners.
Yeah, so far this season, 3 races, 3 different pole sitters. Unfortunately, no pole winners have actually won a race. 3 different winners so far this season.
Well, right now in the top 5, of course, Freddie Smith leads the points. But we've also got a couple of guys from Batesville, Arkansas, like Billy Moyer and Wendell Wallace, right in the thick of things. From Dresden, Ohio, the Stars champion, Donnie Moran, and plenty of others. Let's take a look at some of those guys right now and find out where they are so far in the 1997 season. Do you like having the level of people around you you've got? I know that brings out a certain kind of something in you to compete with people who are really good at what they do.
Well, it does. You know, we've talked about that some too, myself and some of the other drivers, about the competition level here so far this year at their first 3 or 4 races here has just been unreal. You know, they have a 60, 70, 80 car count, you know, everywhere we've been. And, you know, I mean, everybody's here, and you can't be dragging your feet for sure. I mean, you got to be on target every time you go on the racetrack. We just had a tremendous year last year, and, you know, we're going to try and do the same this year and try to do better. But, you know, if we can just get the same, I'd be happy.
Every time you came to a new track, it was like you were already part of the pattern and you'd already run it before.
Yeah, I tell you what, you know, we've put together a pretty good little team here. Todd Moser works for me, and Otis Lester, you know, they do a good job keeping the race cars up. And, you know, I can't say enough for Russell Bakers. He builds us new motors and tries different things, and he stays on top of that end. And I tell him if he can build me some good horsepower, I'll try to hook it up some way. And, you know, Joe with the GRT race cars, he does a good job, helps us out. And, you know, he builds a good race car, and there's some other good car builders out there, you know, and all these race car drivers are so close today. Just, you know, you can go to the racetrack and be able to tick off, and used to you could still manage the top 5. Now that just about puts you out of the show.
Just wanted to get your comments real quick on how it feels to be in the middle of the top 5 battle right now.
It feels pretty good starting out. You know, that's what we're kind of looking forward to this year. Try to get by with these tracks down here in the south. When they start coming up, Hav-A-Tampa up north a little bit, get on our home territory, and I think we'll be able to do some good. You know, I really don't mind the travel, and the family gets to go with us, and, you know, it's a good atmosphere, and I think we'll have a good run tonight.
And a lot of those guys, of course, are in tonight's race as heat race winners last night, like Billy Moyer, Bill Fry, Marshall Green, a little bit of a surprise there. I'm glad to see him in that Warrior chassis. Donnie Moran out of Ohio, the Stars champion, and Robbie Starnes out of Houston, Texas. But the big surprise, perhaps one of the fan favorites, it's Ronnie Johnson on the pole out of Chattanooga.
Well, that's right, Trace. In fact, I think it's safe to say Ronnie Johnson was very disappointed with what happened last year as far as his wins. Now, last year he joined forces with Scott Bloomquist, but this year he's on with very little sponsorship. We asked him about the parting of ways with Bloomquist. After a number of years of running your own team, last year you were a teammate with somebody else. Why the decision to come back and do your own ride again?
Well, one of the reasons that I left and went and drove for someone else is because it's really hard to put a crew together. You know, our racing's really grown. It's grown to the point where it's not a one-man deal. It's a team sport anymore. And we're racing for more and more money, but it's still not to the point where we can hire all the guys that we need, you know, to maintain this deal. So I was always having trouble getting prepared, so I decided to go with a team that was already set up to do that, but the addition of another car to that team was a little bit too much. We were competitive, ran pretty good, had a shot at some wins, but we never won a race. So we came back home, and I'm trying to put a deal together, you know, to run my own stuff, you know, with some sponsors' help. When I raced at home before last year, someone else owned the cars and the equipment. Now I'm trying to do it myself, you know, with sponsorship, and I tell you, it's been a real struggle so far. So we're just really trying to get up to speed here, and we had a good showing last night, qualifying in the heat race, so I hope we're finally starting to get it up to speed.
Ronnie will be the first to tell you, parting company with a guy like Bloomquist with a lot of money is very difficult to do. He's doing most of the racing this year with a volunteer crew, very limited budget, but he's still looking for that all-important big sponsor.
And he's fighting the good fight as one of the top 3 guys forever in the Hav-A-Tampa race series so far. It's about time to go racing, Kevin. When we come back here on the Fox Sports Net, we'll take a look at tonight's lineup as Ford Heavy Trucks brings you the race at Crossville Speedway, Thunder on the Plateau at Crossville, Tennessee. The fans are braced against the chill of the night air in Crossville, Tennessee as Crossville Speedway begins the race tonight for the Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series. Race number 4. Kevin, we've got a full lineup here tonight. Let's go right to it. Tonight's lineup brought to you by Iskey Racing Cams. Race with the legend. Starting on the inside row, a nice surprise, as we mentioned earlier in the program. It's Ronnie Johnson in a Masters-built car out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And right beside him on the outside of row 1, it's Billy Moyer Jr. driving the number 21 car, the Bazooka Base Tube sponsored car out of he's from Batesville, Arkansas, in a Masters-built. In row number 2, inside, it's the 66 car of Bill Fry, GRT car out of Greenbrier, Arkansas. In fact, it's the house car from that manufacturer. And the 4th starting position, the 89 car, Marshall Green from Dalton, Georgia.
And in row 3, starting inside, is Donnie Moran from Dresden, Ohio, and the number 77 car from Houston, Texas, Robbie Starnes. Driving the number 52 car inside of row number 4 is Scott Sexton from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. And Freddie Smith on the outside of row 4, the old veteran from Knoxville, Tennessee, first in points, a defending champion, 3 top 5 so far this year, but still looking for that first win, Freddie Smith.
Row number 5, inside, it's Wendell Wallace, the winner of the very first race this season with the Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series in the 6M Monday Trucking car, a GRT car. Wendell out of Batesville, Arkansas. From Clinton, Tennessee, it's Anthony White in the number 2 car, and that's a Barry Wright car, the only one here so far tonight. In row 6, it's Dale McDowell driving the GRT 17M out of Rossville, Georgia, a teammate of Wendell Wallace. And concluding that row, it's Steve Smith in a Masters-built from Powell, Tennessee, car number 13.
And on row 7, car number 15, Steve Francis out of Ashland, Kentucky, with a rocket chassis. On the outside of row number 7, car number 66, Wade Knowles out of Tyrone, Georgia, driving a Rayburn chassis. He has 2 career Hav-A-Tampa victories. On row number 8, in the 201 car, Rex Ritchie of Ringgold, Georgia, a 5-time Hav-A-Tampa winner. And on the outside of row number 8 is number 28, Jimmy Mars from Elk Mound, Wisconsin. And by the way, tonight's car has won 37 feature races, and he's named it Betty Boop after the cartoon character.
Clayton Christianberry out of Knoxville, Tennessee, the owner of the 3 car, the CB3, the white one in the GRT, also the owner of the Freddie Smith team car. Outside him in row number 9, it's Donnie Barnhart in a GRT out of North Little Rock, Arkansas, the number 11 car. The number 1 car inside row 10, it's Clint Smith, the 1993 Hav-A-Tampa Series champion in the GRT out of Griffin, Georgia, in the Dunbenson Ford, number 1. And the 1B car on the outside of row 10 is Johnny Verdon, a GRT race car from Russellville, Arkansas, also a GRT house car.
And we're talking about the guys right now who made it into the race by winning the consolation races or finishing well. And row number 11 is Mark Miner out of Stockbridge, Georgia, driving a Master-built chassis. He's number 7. Also on the outside of row number 11, 54, Mike Head of Ellenwood, Georgia, in a GRT. Row number 12, 31, Skip Arp, who received a provisional to get into the race. Likewise for Steve Russell in the G1 car.
Also, Steve Russell out of Pontotoc, Mississippi, as a hometown. Car owner Wayman Gibson is from Tupelo, Mississippi, of course, the home of Elvis Presley. Row 13, another car making it in off of the Consolation tonight. It's the number 9 car of Mark Martin from Baxter, Tennessee. Right outside him, it's Gar Dixon in the 60 car from Flintstone, Georgia, one of the perennials of the Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series. And right in the very back, a local car out of this area, Rockford, Tennessee's Tommy Kerr in the 27 car. 4 wide on the front straightaway as the Hav-A-Tampa Series gets ready to put on a show of speed, a show of power, and all the folks here in Crossville, Tennessee are ready for it. They're bundling up and sitting back down after that big, impressive 4 wide look at the formation of the Hav-A-Tampa cars. And look at that. Isn't that an incredible sight?
And you know what? We may see 4 wide at times tonight. This track, as we mentioned, has been reconfigured, and the racing has been much, much better this year. Almost 70 cars tried to get into this race, 27 spots available. A lot of guys went home.
In the consolation races we watched earlier tonight, in fact, one incredible pass after another took place, particularly on the high side, Kevin. We'll be watching the high sides of turn 1 and 2 and turn 3 and 4. That seems to be the passage point for a lot of cars that have got the power to go to the front.
Right. They also have the power to go down the front stretch and the back stretch. The high side for the better part of 2 days has been the preferred line. You will see also midway through turns 3 and 4, the track is beginning to tear up just a little bit. We'll see how that goes through the course of 100 laps.
And now the cars begin to warm the tires, warm those engines, and pick up a spot or two on the racetrack as they start that 2-wide formation that we have to get ready. Now remember, in Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series action, the start begins when the pole sitter decides to start, essentially between the 2 white lines. There are 2 white lines coming out of turn 4 near the midpoint of the front straightaway. The first line is the starting point until you get to the second line. You have to start by the time you're on the second white line, and Ronnie Johnson will be the one to make that decision as we get underway.
Ronnie Johnson out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. He is the man who will decide when to punch it and let everybody start. Ronnie Johnson, the 4th different pole sitter so far on the Hav-A-Tampa Series. So far this year, once again, the pole sitter has not won a race.
Our starting lineup, by the way, has a couple of corrections we need to throw in real quickly if we can here. We referred earlier to Robbie Starnes as another number. He is the 77 car, and I inadvertently gave Steve Francis a 13 instead of a 3, so that makes it correct now. We're ready for the start. Jeff Cooper gives them the green flag. Hav-A-Tampa racing is underway at Crossville Speedway in Tennessee, and quickly Billy Moyer goes to the outside. Ronnie Johnson gets bumped by Marshall Green as he slows desperately in turn 2, but it's Billy Moyer coming to the flag for the first lap, 99 to go. He's in the lead and heading out fast.
It was just one of those deals in the early going where
Donnie Moran gets it right there. Sorry, Kevin, didn't mean to step on you, but he and Bill Fry are all over each other, and the 77 car of Robbie Starnes shot to the low side, went past them at that moment.
Right, in this particular situation, just some guys needing to get out of the way just a little bit quicker than they are.
Robbie Starnes is off to a pretty quick start. He's pulling away, but Donnie Moran's also got good action out of turn 2. He slips and slides back and forth just a little bit, but he's got a problem on his heels, and that's Freddie Smith. Freddie Smith in the 00, making moves to the low side there, making Donnie Moran work for his action.
And there you can see some of the guys going into the turns. They're going to go 2, sometimes 3 wide, as we mentioned, especially in turns 3 and 4.
Bill Fry started in the 3rd position. He's now passed this time by, of course, the 00 car, Freddie Smith, shoving him back about 2 places at this point. Freddie Smith goes fast to the inside of Donnie Moran and has the groove. He takes it to the low side. Here goes Billy Moyer, now taking himself past Clayton Christianberry in the 3 car, apparently already lapping the field with only 5 laps underway.
Christianberry, the first guy to get a lap down so far tonight.
There goes Moyer. Moyer, of course, had 32 wins in 1996, running independently out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, with a GBS race team of Joel Hedrick and the gang. What a combination these guys have put together, and Billy seems to be on the track to compete this year for the Hav-A-Tampa Points Title Championship.
And Moyer's trying to work on putting Mark Martin a lap down, not the Winston Cup driver, but the Hav-A-Tampa driver.
Right in front of him, of course, holding him up is the 60 car of Flintstone, Georgia's Gar Dixon. Now Ronnie Johnson action. He's still kind of having a little trouble there in the turns. Clayton Christianberry was coming up, and it looks like he's on the high side. That's the high side there for Ronnie, but he is slowing down. We've got a caution out on the racetrack coming up. We'll take a look and see if we can find it for you.
That is Moran. Kind of a surprise. Donnie Moran up in the wall, coming actually into turn 4 is where he touched it. Now he's coming slowly back across. Not sure exactly what happened, but he was kind of stuck up there for the better part of a good 10, 15, 20 seconds. Disappointing night for Donnie Moran. By the way, last year, what a year. Won the Dream Race, $100,000. He also picked up a couple other big races through the course of the year,
including the World 100,
the World 100,
which is the granddaddy of all the sport. The 99 car will be worked over by the crew. They're going to have to pull the sheet metal out of the lower right side of the car. They're climbing in to check the engine. Apparently problems there. While we have our caution, let's take our first break for the good folks at Ford Heavy Trucks, bringing you all the action of the Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series from Crossville Speedway in Tennessee. We'll be back in a moment on Fox Sports Net.
Hav-A-Tampa Series. Fast Talk.
Jeff Bodine's QVC number 7 Ford rides in fast company as one of the many Ford teams in NASCAR's Winston Cup Series. For him, it's the best competitive decision to make.
Ford teams outnumber Chevrolet and GM cars, what, 3-1? You know, we should be doing better more often. But every time that starts to happen, somebody complains and they change the rule. And if Ford has a better car package, when the rules are even, maybe some of those other guys ought to run some Ford. Or if the other guys have a better package, maybe that's why there are more Ford teams, because Fords are better, their racing program is better. So maybe the other guys need to step theirs up a little bit so they have more teams and more drivers.
As the new Ford Aeromax 113 turns the miles across America, the eyes of America's trucking industry are turning to Ford. Ford research among 5,000 truck drivers and owners brought forth the most requested customer features in Ford's Aeromax 113. In today's terms, big comfort, power to operate, and control at the wheel are all in the hands of today's driver. See it and ride the new wave of trucking success in Ford's Aeromax 113.
Back to the action as they have just gone through the first caution of the night here, as the Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series has gotten about 5 laps, so let's make that 8 laps under its book, in its books, as the cars line up once again. All 27 cars are back in, Kevin. Frisky Racing Cams, Race with a Legend. Let's take a look at the top 5 in the reorder right quick.
Billy Moyer Jr. continues to hang on to the top spot, and Ronnie Johnson, who started on the pole, is currently second. Marshall Green's running third, Robbie Starnes running fourth, and the 00, Freddie Smith, started 8th. He's already running 5th.
And the flag flies once again as we get back underway. The beginning of lap 9, Billy Moyer way up in front, but way on the low side is the number 5 car of Chattanooga's Ronnie Johnson. He put the move on Moyer and brought it in, but Moyer comes back on the inside, and they almost have it 4 wide deep behind him as Marshall Green gets down on the low side of the racetrack as well. Right on the outside of him, it's the 77 of Robbie Starnes who's sliding back as Freddie Smith moves into 4th place.
Well, Ronnie Johnson just got a great jump on the restart and managed to take the low line, and now he's moved up high, the preferred line, as we mentioned.
Freddie Smith is not spending too much time thinking about what his strategy will be tonight. He's simply going very fast down the back straightaway, staying pretty close to the middle of the middle groove on the racetrack as he comes out of 4 down quickly through turn 1, and we watch Moyer now battling with Johnson going strong to the outside, passing him on the high side of turn 3 and 4 as they come down the front straightaway. Look at that car go.
And number 6, Wendell Wallace, is making a move. He's running on the low side. He's trying to take over the 5th spot right now, where they're about to tangle it. Well, they managed to get out of that tangle. Once again, he's going to go to the low side. And Ronnie Johnson, there you see, maintaining his lead.
And the caution comes out for the second time here at Crossville Speedway. As we look for some damage out in turn 1, we see the 4T car. That, unfortunately, is the young man here from Rockford, Tennessee. Tonight's last entry, Tommy Kerr.
Tommy Kerr.
Tommy Kerr apparently has lost power for some particular reason. I didn't see any contact on his car. I don't see any damage either. So far, he looks like he's okay.
No damage to this one right here, Ronnie Johnson.
An unsponsored car, but definitely one of the streaks on the racetrack, and doing a great job tonight, bringing together literally a volunteer crew, but tons of experience in race cars in Tennessee. This man here, his father, of course, is the great Joe Lee Johnson that once won the World 600 at Charlotte, the very first one. Back in the days of the old convertibles.
As a matter of fact, when you go to Charlotte and look at the pictures, Joe Lee is wearing a pair of blue jeans and a T-shirt, and after the year afterwards, everybody was wearing driving suits.
We're coming back to action now. Billy Moyer is in 2nd place. A good spot for him, not necessarily where he'll remain for the rest of the race, but right behind him, one of the great stories unfolding before you, the 89 car, the Warrior chassis with Marshall Green out of Dalton, Georgia. Boy, is he putting on a show here. This is a very strong showing for this young man. Only really his 2nd full season with the Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series.
And currently he's 14th in the points, and he was actually the winner of last night's 4th heat. They had 6 heats here. One of the winners of the heat races, and once again 14th in the points.
And he's been fun to watch so far as he has mixed it up out there coming out of turn 2. That seems to be a place where a lot of people think they can make a move. That seems to be the smoothest exit, and where a lot of them are finding a little extra horsepower as they come out running down the back straightaway. Starter Jeff Cooper is going to give him one more time around the racetrack. He's trying to get them to sort of scooch up a little closer to each other there, bring those cars a little bit closer together so we can get a little tighter starting formation. And, of course, Ronnie Johnson's ready to go out on the back straightaway. We're seeing a little bit of tire warming action by Billy Moyer as the last car of the line comes across. Ronnie Johnson, again, is the man that makes the start. Jeff Cooper holds the green flag, willingly ready to assist. Ronnie Johnson's underway, and there we go again. The restart after the second caution of the race so far. 12 laps in the books, and here we go. Marshall Green gets sideways, gets loose, and Freddie Smith takes it away from me. Freddie Smith all the way up to third after starting sixth tonight.
And here you see Moyer just made the pass on Johnson. They've taken turns on the restarts, passing one another. And once again, Moyer has regained the lead.
A very nice back and forth run. There's Bill Fry going inside Marshall Green. Marshall Green apparently has lost some momentum, burned off the tires a little on the right, and now he's getting passed by a number of cars. Bill Fry looking strong, and Marshall Green slides back with Wendell Wallace in the 6M car, winner of the first race this season, now pulling up behind Bill Fry.
Wendell Wallace's car has been running well on the low side most of the night, and he's managed to get up almost into fourth.
Freddie Smith takes the inside against the 5 car of Ronnie Johnson and has just about taken the position. It's almost his, but Ronnie Johnson fights back hard on the high side of turn 1, sliding in that upper groove out of turn 2 and taking the speed shot down the back straightaway as Freddie Smith fights to stay on the low side. They shift back and forth, both of them contesting second, while Billy Moyer contends to run away from both of them very cleanly down the back straightaway. Johnson takes the lead one more time. Freddie gives up the battle just briefly there as they have completed 17 laps here tonight at Crossville Speedway.
Turns 3 and 4 getting treacherous. You can see the cars. You see Moyer going down the back stretch with a healthy lead, going into 3 and coming through 4. It's awfully rough midway through the turn.
And he takes Gar Dixon out of the race at least by 1 lap there as he goes flying by Gar Dixon's car, which is not having the handling that he needs right now. Freddie Smith is now putting on a charge again on the low side out of 2. As we said earlier, Kevin, that looks like a spot where a lot of action can take place, where a car can make a move or two. And inside is Donnie Barnhart fighting with that crumpled up right front fender. And on the outside of him, he's got another challenge going his way as the 15 car of Steve Francis comes after him. However, Barnhart holds him off. Aerodynamics, bad or good, doesn't seem to matter right now. Look at the passing going on up towards the front. Wendell Wallace is making another move. Now he's past Bill Fry. He's gotten around him. That is one of the strongest cars in the entire series. Finished third in the points last year, and he's on a mission to be the guy this year.
Absolutely. That's from Batesville, Arkansas, and the 96 shootout champion, teammate of Dale McDowell.
Ronnie Johnson loses it a little on the high side in 4, but he's come back. He's maintained that position on the high side no matter what. He keeps it there, and Freddie Smith, although he got past him, is now losing that spot back to Johnson. We've got a spin out on the front straightaway. Steve Francis does a full 360. One of the cars, Johnny Verdon, just got around him to the inside of the racetrack there as the caution flag waved frantically for all of them to come underway.
And Trace, I'm not sure who it was, but Francis did have some help going around, and he's didn't hit anything, just maybe hurt his feelings a little.
Got a little assist there, indeed. Well, they've come to the third caution of the night. We have ourselves at 23 laps deep into the race as race fans in Crossville, Tennessee are getting their money's worth tonight. We'll come back with more action with Ford Heavy Trucks and all the gang bringing you this great coverage here on Fox Sports Net in just a moment. Crossville, Tennessee, that's the look in turn 4. One of the grooves that's begun to emerge as this battle continues. And, of course, you can see the knocked out pieces of the racetrack, a number of them out there. It's very tough going up there. Tough sledding, if you will, Kevin. But a lot of cars are finding a way to make their moves around this particular thing, particularly as they get down the straightaway.
What this does, the cars, when they hit this, they just lose the traction that they love to keep in the turns, and they're not able to do that.
Billy Moyer on the point takes the green flag as we restart after caution number 3 in race number 4 of the Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series. Ronnie Johnson and Freddie Smith just go right back at it. The 00 car stays on the low groove. As you can see, those 2 grooves emerge. You see 2 black streaks, 1 low, 1 high. And Ronnie Johnson is working the high one and keeping it. Even when he falls back like he just did in turn 2, he puts the power down and goes down the back straightaway. Tonight, Kevin, most of these cars are running a smaller engine so they can work with a better turning radius and a little less weight to have to turn.
And the Southern gentleman is turning just nicely tonight.
There goes Del McDowell to the high side of Robbie Starnes. Robbie Starnes started out in sixth place earlier and has slipped out. Donnie Moran has dropped out of the race. He's on the low side of the racetrack in the pits.
The second time he's been in the pits tonight.
Not good for him. He's already lost several laps. We've got 25 laps in the books as Billy Moyer crosses the front straightaway, and to the high side we just saw the 89 car of Marshall Green. There's Billy Moyer running very quick into turn 3 and 4. Watch him move classically through those turns. This guy does not spend much time letting that right rear spin out to the outside. Spectacular to watch, but it doesn't make you go down the racetrack straight away. Wendell Wallace, though, with a little whip action on the wheel back and forth, goes close within inches of the number 5 car of Ronnie Johnson as they fight through turn 4 and go through those bumps we just talked about. Side-by-side racing with Clint Smith and Steve Russell. Back and forth. Look at the spring action there. Really loose on the rear section of the G1 car as he battles and actually touches the 1 car there momentarily. Both great drivers keeping control as they go through the turn. Look at that, within 3 or 4 inches of each other as they clear turn 4 down into turn 1. Steve now going a little deeper in the G1 car, lower and comes up high, almost into into Griffin George's Clint Smith again.
And problems for Mark Miner. It appears he is done for the night. Trying to get some problems. He's out of the car.
Definitely not excited about that particular. That's the 1996 Southern All-Stars champ. We've got caution flag number 4 as the 77 car of Robbie Starnes has gotten himself up against the wall. We're looking for him, and I believe he's in turn 1. He's up in turn 1. That's Robbie Starnes, and he's got a little problem there. As you can see, he's got some right rear damage, and it may have gotten the tire messed up. We're looking close in there. There's Robbie Starnes. You see him inside the car trying to restart it, it looks like. Apparently not having any luck. Don't think it's a starter problem as much as maybe just a problem with some of the carburation at this point from having been slammed against the wall, having the fuel kind of get thrown out of kilter there.
And man, you hate to see that. Robbie Starnes, obviously the longest drive to this track this weekend from Houston, Texas. He won the one of the heat races last night, and it looks like he just can't get it fired up right now. So that, you talk about a long trip home. Yeah, when you go out like this.
I'm not sure if it's exactly a crash. Unfortunately, his record this season with the Hav-A-Tampa series has been a little bit on the downside. He's run 3 races and unfortunately crashed in all 3 races so far. We hope he'll get back into this one real soon. The Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series, caution number 4 is behind us. Billy Moyer ready to restart the gang. Right on his heels, it's Freddie Smith trying to go to the high side, but Moyer holds him back and goes quickly back to the high side where he's been very effective tonight. And for moments, just seconds there, the 00 car looked like he might find a little extra something and go into the inside and take it away. But Moyer pulls away. Oh, into the wall. It's the 6M car. Wendell Wallace got way too close to the wall. Now he dives back from the high side of turn 2, back to the low side, down the back straightaway, and gets back inside Bill Fry. But he definitely hit that car hard against the front straightaway wall. Whether it caused enough damage to slow him down doesn't look like it, and it doesn't look like the steering has any particular problems at this point either. But Bill Fry goes quickly back to the outside of the Wendell Wallace car.
Wendell Wallace spins around, and there may be something wrong with the handling. He went into the wall when he and Ronnie Johnson were racing side by side. Don't know if they touched, but that's what he did. When he went into the wall, he was running side by side, and there you see Wendell Wallace. You have to wonder what happened to the possibly the steering on that car when he hit the wall.
Watching him turn the wheel inside the car just then, Kevin, I didn't see that he was having any particular trouble turning it, but at those speeds, every little problem, every little sticky part of the thing slowing it down or causing the steering rate to slow down in any way can be very critical at those speeds. And as you saw, he got right into the wall. It was an incredible hit. He kept the car right. Did not get back out on the track into other traffic and hurt anybody else. So tremendous job there on the part of Wendell Wallace. But, of course, obviously his crew's scrambling to try to see if they can get those tires replaced and getting back in the race while there's a caution. And Steve Smith, yeah, sitting out there also being looked at and examined by one of the officials right there, just right there in turn number 1. And we've got another car sitting on the track. Officials running out to talk to Clint Smith. Behind him, Johnny Verdon. Everybody seems to be taking a moment here to sort of regroup and figure out if they've got damage that they think they might be feeling in the steering wheel right now. Trying to figure out just how much damage they've got so they get the free look from the officials, which doesn't count against them, and doesn't take them off the racetrack. Therefore, they don't lose any points or any laps or any positions.
And Wendell Wallace, the crew trying to get him back in. They've got him a couple of fresh tires, and there you see they're putting that 100-mile-an-hour tape on the spoiler to try to keep that
I'll
down.
let you in on a secret. Actually, they are using 200-mile-an-hour.
200 miles.
They just wrote 100 on it.
Right,
but
double the fun.
Yeah, that's right. They're actually using 200. They tell everybody it's 100.
I hope they didn't use duct tape from the TV crew tonight.
Hopefully not, because we'll need all of it later. Wendell Wallace's car goes back down off the jack. It looks like they're through taking their turns on trying to fix it up. It looks like the crew is more or less satisfied. Now we find out if Wendell Wallace is going to be satisfied as he re-enters in turn 1, waiting for the signal from the official. He's back on the track and ready to get back into the action. That's a very tough break that puts him to the back of the pack. He starts all the way from the back, and no matter how good your car is, with someone like Billy Moyer leading you 31 laps into 100 laps, in a race like this with the Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series, that's a long way to have to go.
And I'm not sure, but he may have been lapped.
There's Pontotoc, Mississippi's G1 car driven by Steve Russell. Actually, the car owner's out of Tupelo, but Steve's out of Pontotoc, and right in front of him is the 17M car of Dale McDowell.
And, you know, you got to give a call to Steve Russell, who started near the back of the pack, and he's worked his way up to, what, 9th right now, right behind Dale McDowell. So the Russell car is running, he's on rails.
And they're getting ready to come back. We'll restart after the 5th caution lap. Here we go. Billy Moyer again, quickly again establishes to the high side. Now he's working the high side a little more and proving to Freddie Smith that he was right. Freddie Smith stayed to the high side on that one, but it continues with his car to work down into turn 4 as he goes toward the low side. Billy Moyer continues to pick up the speed and keep it going as he pulls away. We're looking for more action out here on the racetrack. It looks like there's Billy Moyer now going up. We have the caution.
Caution flag. There's a car in the back stretch just past the entrance on the back stretch. We can't see which car it is.
Yeah.
I think it's a blue car, blue and black car possibly, but spun around and into the wall and can't
it is on the
refire.
inside wall, against the wall. That's where it is. We have a car spun out. We see belts coming off the driver. We'll try to tell who it is here in just a second. Unfortunately, that looks like it for him when you start throwing the belts off like that. Another stop, the 6th one so far. We're still trying to get past lap 31 here as the Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series is on Fox Sports Net tonight as our television coverage continues, brought to you by Ford Heavy Trucks and the Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series. The fans await it. We'll return. Welcome back to Fox Sports Net coverage here of the Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series. Untold numbers of cautions, but Billy Moyer's not being cautioned at all as he moves again down the front straightaway. Bill Fry trying to go low and get a position on a quick restart there against the 00 car of Freddie Smith. 1, 2, 3, it's 2100 and the 66 car with Ronnie Johnson, who started on the pole, still holding on to 4th, but getting pursuit now from Scott Sexton, who's made some big moves in the 52 car as this race has rolled on towards a halfway point. 5 laps away, 4 laps away as Billy Moyer crosses the front straightaway, and Steve Russell in the G1 car is trying to make a move, but we see the caution coming right back out again. Apparently another car in trouble out here somewhere.
There's there's debris on the track right down going into turn number 1, piece of sheet metal.
Yes, there is. There's a look at it with our camera right there. They're coming into turn 3 and getting ready to go back into action. Billy Moyer's still leading after 45 laps. The green flag goes out once again. The speed is underway with a beautiful look at 21 and 00 and 66. A repeat of the action we've been seeing. Now, Freddie Smith got a little loose, almost in the wall, and slowed down back there. Another caution immediately comes out as we have more problems with another car.
Scott Sexton.
Scott Sexton.
He and Ronnie Johnson got together on the back stretch, and it was Sexton into the wall hard. Hit it twice hard.
Jim Harrow with the Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series is out there looking in turn 2 at what appears to be an artesian spring breaking loose out there in turn 2. Carson Branham, the owner, on the upper right-hand corner of your screen, and Jim Harrow, we're just checking it out, trying to decide if, in fact, that's what it is, if they can cover it up and maybe get this thing restarted. This is the first time, Kevin, that I have ever seen a race called because of an artesian spring, at least up to this point.
We've sprung a leak, it looks like.
Literally have.
And they're going to try. They're just going to try the old-fashioned way of stopping it up with a bobcat load of fill dirt and
fresh fill dirt on the track, folks. That's what we've got. Carson Branham stepping out there, going, "I don't believe all the things that I'm getting tested by here at this particular racetrack." Welcome to the happy ownership role at the new racetrack, Carson. Gosh darn, bless his soul.
And you can see
that bobcat operator, though, I'll tell you what, right now he's winning his race. He's doing a great job out there. I don't know who that is, but boy, he knows how to move that thing around.
And I think right now the order for Clint Smith would be a new hood.
Green flag out. Here's Billy Moyer. Freddie Smith on the backside, hanging in there for second. And, of course, Bill Fry continues to ease himself in third towards the back straightaway wall, almost picking up the Freddie Smith car. Freddie puts on a burst of speed down the back straightaway, shoots into turn 3. Looks like he's going to overtake Billy. Billy comes out of 4, and away he goes again, lengthening his lead each time.
And you see that there's a lot of dust, better dust than mud out there over those springs that have come up and sprung a leak.
Rex Ritchie's got a battle, too. He's trying to get himself around Clint Smith, but he's caught up in 4 cars all bunched together there on the racetrack and taking varying degrees of time to get through these turns, some going faster than others in the wrong spots. Black flag just, I'm sorry, a move-over flag just came out. I believe that was for Clint Smith. Rex Ritchie now tails back behind that car that has slipped in between him and Griffin. Billy Moyer on the high side. Freddie Smith trying to make some action happen here as they get into lap 59. They're trying to make something happen. Freddie Smith is now making his move. Rex Ritchie tapped just momentarily by the 21 car, Billy Moyer, as Freddie Smith now begins to put the push on. He is really trying to go after that 21 car. Got himself on the low side coming in there. Now the lap traffic works to Moyer's advantage as he stays to the high side, and then he gets tapped just ever so slightly by the 00, who now moves down below him, now begins to try to go around him, and Clint Smith holds both of them up. Clint is getting the move-over flag. He has held up the race just enough for Freddie Smith to get back in it, but then he held up the race just enough for Billy Moyer to take it back.
Turnabout's fair play, I guess, but they've given him the move over, and Freddie was putting tons of pressure on Moyer to get him over.
We are down to the last 3 laps. We're going to see that white flag any moment. The Hav-A-Tampa officials have ruled we're only going to go for 65 laps to complete the race. Here they come again. Freddie Smith has slid back. Moyer again has mounted the attack. He's got the speed back, and whatever Freddie Smith was going to try to do has apparently failed. He has slipped back. He's now down to 1 lap to go as the white flag comes out. Jeff Cooper says, all right, fellas, we're wrapping this thing up. There he is, Billy Moyer, coming out of turn 2 for the last time tonight. Down the back straightaway, holding his own. Now on the low side of the racetrack, not going to the high side. He'll hold him off. He comes out of turn 4, takes the checkered flag. Billy Moyer has won his first Hav-A-Tampa race of 1997, and that will move him up in the points for sure.
I think we were seeing what Freddie Smith was doing there. He was waiting on the last 10, 15 laps to mount his charge, and he did. Unfortunately, may have been some lap traffic getting his way near the end of the night, and he couldn't quite get up there and get past Moyer.
A very strong finish, and it looked like he might have enough to make it happen there momentarily. Billy Moyer's the champ on this race tonight. Kevin will take a look at the winner's circle with him here. They've got to go through tech inspection. We'll be back on Fox Sports Net with tonight's wrap-up and conversation with Billy Moyer, winner of tonight's Plateau Thunder 100 at Crossville Speedway. Come back with us. Billy Moyer has climbed out of the 21 car. He's the winner tonight here at Crossville Speedway. Let's see what he has to say about the win with Kevin Billingsley.
Congratulations. 65 laps. I know you'd rather run 100 and win it, but you'll take the 65 and a win, won't you?
Yeah, that's for sure. When you're leading it, you know, and they shorten them like that, that's, you know, that's better for the guy in the lead. You know, some of the guys in the back probably disagree with it, but, you know, the track over there was giving us fits, and I think it showed by all the wrecks they were having over there. It was, you know, everybody's kind of on a hard tire combination, I think, for here, you know, for a run 100 laps, and you run across that water over there, and it's like going across a piece of ice, and it, I used to race motocross, and it kind of reminded me of going through the mud and off the jumps and through the holes, and, you know, it was fun, but it was just, you know, it was right on that edge of tearing stuff up, and I was lucky enough not to really have to be racing hard with somebody. So, you know, that they did the right thing, I think, by saving the race cars.
And Billy Moyer is the winner of $15,000 tonight from the Plateau Thunder 100 at Crossville Speedway, followed by series defending champion Freddie Smith in second. Bill Fry was third, Ronnie Johnson fourth. Dale McDowell was in fifth, the second Monday team car this year. And sixth was, of course, Steve Francis. In seventh, it was Steve Smith, followed by Wendell Wallace out of Batesville in eighth. Then it was Wade Knowles, Mike Head, Mark Martin, and Johnny Verdon finishing 12th. In 13th, it was Donnie Barnhart. 14th, Jimmy Mars, followed by Rex Ritchie, Clint Smith, the defending 93 champion, and Clayton Christianberry in 17th, with Gar Dixon in 18th. In 19th, Scott Sexton, Steve Russell, Marshall Green, Anthony White, Skip Arp, and Robbie Starnes out of Houston. In 25th, it was Mark Miner, followed by Donnie Moran and Tommy Kerr. Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series Television is brought to you by Ford Heavy Trucks, maker of the all-new Aeromax and Louisville Truck Series. Together, we can run the country. And by the Hav-A-Tampa Dirt Racing Series, America's biggest dirt track late model series. A-Sports radio communications are provided by Team One Communications, a great way to hear the race. Call Team One for your own scanner. Long-distance telephone service provided to A-Sports by Taylor Communications. Call for information on how to save on your home or business long-distance costs. Hotel accommodations provided by Heritage Inn in Crossville. Complete overnight accommodations with free cable and continental breakfast. Winner of the best accommodation rating in the Crossville area for the last 2 years. Stay in Crossville at the Heritage Inn, thanks to Roy South and his staff. Hav-A-Tampa Series television schedules across America will be found on the internet at www.asportsnet.com. All rights to this telecast are the property of A-Sports Marketing. Your VHS tape copy can be purchased for $19.95 plus shipping, handling, and applicable tax. Call 1-888-TAMPA-00 to order.